Hello Wargamers, it's Callum from TableTopBanter, and I'm here with Harry.
Hello.
And Team IDICBeer. We have a nice little battle report for you today. As you will have already known, I suppose the video's already been put up and stuff about the little pre-game chat Harry and I had, talking about some ideas. So I'm going to go over our deployment first. Harry, do you want
to... yeah, so Crimson Fists, Landroid Crusader with Multi-Melter, Pedro Cantor with Honor Guard, and that's got a Relic Blade and a Power Axe, and then we've got a Rhino with 5 Tactical Marines and a Plasma Gun. In reserve I've got a Storm Talon Gunship with Typhoon Missile Launcher, Drop Pod with another 5 guys in it with a Plasma Gun. That's got the Grav Gun. And that's it for mine.
Okay, and for me I'm bringing Imperial Guard and Dark Angels, so we have Infantry Blob with 2 Voxcasters. Attached to them is a Commissar and a Librarian level 1. He rolled on Divination for Prescience. We have the Platoon Command Squad with 3 Grenade Launchers and a Vox, and a Company Command Squad. What you see is what you get, and this fellow is a Master of Ordnance, and this guy is the Officer of the Fleet. I've also deployed 5 Tacticals. In reserve I have a Nephilim Jet Fighter, 10 Veterans with the Melter Gun upgrades and the Demolitions upgrades, in a Chimera, and we also have a Nephilim Jet Fighter.
And a Raven Wing Command Squad.
And a Raven Wing Command Squad, I always forget about them. So I'm just going to pan around here. As we fight on this Necron tomb world, the Eldar and some rogue Space Marines have joined up. Dead bodies of Blood Angels everywhere. So let's just take a look at the Eldar force, if you want to go through that, Nick.
Sure, yeah. So I've got Farseer on a jet bike, and she's got Precognition.
Precognition?
Yeah, that's the one. Perfect timing, foreboding, and of course the Primaris power. I tried to get Misfortune, but sadly that failed. And she is joined with a squad of scatter jet bikes, 3 of them. There's also another squad of 3 scatter bikes, another squad of 3 scatter bikes, and there's another one here behind these Space Marine bikes. Of course, we've got the big bad boy there, the Wraith Knight with his Batleth. No gun option, so he's just got basically the D-sword and the shield. Also got the Crimson Hunter Exarch in reserve. And lastly, down here I have my 6 Swooping Hawks with an Exarch.
Lovely, and for the Space Marines?
I have a bike squad with a melter, and he has a power weapon. And then in this Rhino we have the Sergeant as a power weapon and a melter, and that's exactly the same.
Cool.
And then we have Centurions in reserve in a drop pod with Tigerius.
Lovely. Now the Eldar Space Marine Alliance decided, or they rolled off and went first, and the forces of the Imperium have decided to sit back and let them come to us. So we're going to go into turn 1 for the Eldar. The first turn for the Eldar and Space Marines. So what happened? Basically everything sort of came forward. The Wraith Knight here jumped and run. Some psychic shenanigans with the Farseer, although he was less effective than usual, only managing... Oh no, actually the Farseer didn't get anything off. The drop pod came just down here by the objective, and out came the Grav Centurions, who elected to fire into this guard blob. The 5-up save actually doing us some good for once. Over this side of the board you can see some cheeky Eldar turbo boosting, and some more bikes that just came up and turbo boosted. As we walk around it, well, move around this way, some more like just some moving of the bikes, managing to kill a few guardsmen, but nothing too horrific for the forces of the Imperium. So we're going to roll into our turn 1. Okay, so that is the end of turn 1 for the Imperium. Just in terms of this sort of stuff here, we've all moved forward. The guard tried to go through cover, didn't get very far. Coming around here, these guys stayed still. Bit of moving. This came up 12 inches and hid. We have the Land Raider sort of come in to tempt the Wraith Knight. Hey, let's see if he does anything. And the drop pod came in over on that side of the table, as you can see. Got out, basically just trying to be there to be a bit of a nuisance. No first blood, nothing like that, so we've got all the extra objective bits still to grab. For shooting wise, first rank, second rank went off on them, managed to kill 1 Centurion. Then I also put 3 frag grenades in, got 9 hits but no wounds because I'm winning on 6s. And then the other shooting was fairly ineffective. Some jinked Eldar bikes over there, but that's all fine. So we're going to roll into turn 2 for Eldar and turned Space Marines. The Eldar and Space Marine turn 2. Lots of death and destruction on the board. So the flyer came in from reserves using its vector dancing, just managed to end up over on that side of the table. Just basically shuffling around with the jet bikes in the centre of the board. Obviously, time to start looking at what needs to be killed and what objectives need to be grabbed. So wheeling round to this side of the table, we had the Grav Centurions move back, and the bikes turned around to try and face off with these Crimson Fists. From reserve, Swooping Hawks came on with no scatter, and the jet bikes moved over here just to hide, sort of late game, I think. In the shooting phase, basically, the Eldar managed to pop the Rhino that's over there, gave them first blood. Those Marines are pinned. What else happened? Let's see, shooting phase. Yeah, a lot of shots got poured into these tactical Marines, but they managed to do okay, so we're all right there. Bit of shuffling of Rhinos full of guys. So there's a surprising amount left on the board, because you do forget that models are inside transports. Yeah. So, and yeah, of course, like the flyer pumped shots into the Land Raider, took it down 2 hull points with that and the Grav Centurions, and then obviously a D-strength Wraith Knight did the rest of the job. So Cantor and his men came out, and they are ready to get pretty dead. No, I reckon they'll be okay, actually. I backed them. What do you think, Harry?
I have no idea.
Okay, so
Let's roll some dice.
in terms of reserves, the only thing that didn't come on for us was the Jet Fighter, and we're going to roll into turn 2 for the Imperium. Turn 2 for the Imperium. What happened? Well, the Storm Talon came on here and really focus fired into the Crimson Hunter, taking it down to 1 hull point. It's jinked and lost its pulse laser. These guys actually snap fired in. The plasma hit and managed to pen, but the jink save was made on this occasion. The Chimera came up 12 inches, and the the Melter Veterans fired into the Wraith Knight and managed to do 1 wound. Snap firing, so got lucky there. In terms of orders, not a lot happened. First rank, second rank into the Grav Centurions, but didn't do anything. Monster Hunter on these guys also didn't do anything, and Split Fire on these guys managed to take 2 hull points from the drop pod, taking it down to 1 because of an immobilization result on the pen chart from the orbital bombardment. So that was alright. Something that was slightly less alright, we went into the assault phase. Well, these guys were trying to charge in. They did not do so well. Over on this side of the board, Command Squad came on from reserve, killed a couple of bikes, but there were a lot of jinks. And then also on the other side, we see another jet bike on his own, bless him. But he got really focus fired in by that unit, and they have managed to obviously take 2 away, which does leave us with an awkward 1 left to kill. So we're going to roll into Space Marines turn 3. The third turn for Eldar and Space Marine Alliance, and look at all these bodies. It must look like we're doing really well until we sort of scan further away. I mean, I'm going to work my way from the back of the board. Wraith Knight, he went in and just annihilated the Honor Guard. There is Pedro Cantor and 1 faithful Honor Guard left. Yeah, it didn't actually cause a single wound, which was a bit of a shame. As we swing around here, the Grav Centurion snap fired up into the Storm Talon, did nothing. A lot of the stuff at the back of the board over here, the Scat Pack and those Tactical Marines didn't really do much in the end, but the Scat Pack fired into what was my Ravenwing Command Squad, and they had Ignores cover, so I didn't get my re-rolls on my 3-up saves, and they all died. These bikes and the Tacticals ended up firing into the Tactical Marines that came out of the drop pod. A couple of those left, they managed to hold leadership. The Swooping Hawks flew off into outer space, and we still have these 3 jet bikes hiding over here. Not to be forgotten about. So, we're going to go into turn 3 for the Imperium. The Imperium turn 3. And it's time to start clutching at moral victories. So there's no more Crimson Hunter. The snap firing and bolt guns managed to do a glance, and no jink was declared, so yeah, it took the last hull point off. Everything here just kind of moved, shuffled and run a little bit, trying to just guard ourselves from objectives and stuff, and trying to just consolidate this small corner of the board. The Nephilim jet fighter came on and fired everything, all 6 one-use missiles, the twin-link las cannon, the heavy bolter, and managed to kill just 1 bike. 5 jinks were rolled on the black sword missiles, and there were 5 sixes. So I was slightly displeased by the lack of firepower that managed to actually put out in terms of wounds. The Storm Talon did the same thing and didn't do anything either. So really it was basically just focus firing on the bikes that did nothing, and the Wraith Knight killed our guys in combat. But I'm going to go back to the fact we did actually kill a flyer. So hooray for moral victories. Yeah. So we're going to go into turn 4 for the Eldar and Space Marine Alliance. Yeah, this Wraith Knight came in, and well, I think needless to say, everyone's getting a little bit scared. So the turn 4 for the Eldar Space Marine Alliance was a case of sort of moving around. They dealt with the tactical marines that were in that drop pod over there. They are now gone. The melter gun in the bike squad snap fired into the Storm Talon, which did jink, but didn't lose a single hull point, and it soaked up a lot of firepower. We had 2 scat packs, that one there, and that one round there. And we also had the grav cannons firing in, and they, well, luckily didn't do anything. So at the moment, for Team Imperium, things are not looking right as rain. This guy also came in, killed enough guys in the assault to not be able to pile in and attack back. So for my guys to basically be knocked out of combat. And they made, they failed leadership, and they just stayed on the board. So we'll be seeing if they regroup in a bit. Hopefully they can. And, well, I mean, we'll see, won't we? I guess we're about to go into turn 4 for the Imperium. End of the Imperium turn 4, going on into turn 5, and it's safe to say that things are not looking great right now. The Flyers, they moved forward and shot sort of into that squad over there. The las cannon did take a hull point off the Rhino, and the heavy bolters did not. The Storm Talon only killed 1 guy because it did jink the previous turn, but that's fine. And then we also had an orbital bombardment from my Master of Ordnance come in and kill a bunch of Marines and take a hull point off the Rhino, which was pretty handy as well. Did anything else happen, really? Yes. So a squad of like 14 guardsmen, a librarian, and a commissar charged in, 11 of whom died, or a bit more, 10 guys died, and the Wraith Knight obviously didn't take any wounds, but obviously the factor there was we were trying to get him tied up. So we're going on into the next turn, turn 5. This could be the last turn of the game for Eldar and Space Marine Alliance. Of the Eldar and Space Marine turn 5. What happened? Well, sort of a bit of shuffling around in the middle here. Some troops on that objective, quite important there. These scat bikes came across and fired into the Storm Talon. We had this bike come up and sit on that objective along with the Rhino and a squad of 5 who re-embarked. Over here, the Haywire from the Swooping Hawks managed to wreck the drop pod, and the bikes just came around as well to make sure that that objective was firmly in the hands of the opponent. Over here, these scatter bikes popped round and fired a ton of shots into this squad here. They went to ground for a 2-up cover, but hoping that my order is going to get off next turn to get them to stand up. What else happened here? Well, the Wraith Knight happened. The Wraith Knight managed to kill off the rest of the guys in there with his stomp as well, removing from play. And that was it for Eldar and Space Marines. So we're going to go into turn 5 for the Imperium. This could potentially be the last turn of the game. Okay guys, so that was the end of the turn of the Imperium. This is a very brave man. He stood back up again. A bit of shuffling just to try and really get on these objectives. And then the main sort of meat of the turn was taken here. Everything sort of moved up. So the jet fighter came up, the Storm Talon dropped down to hover mode with the aim to pop the tank, kill everything inside, and just blow them off the objective. That obviously hasn't quite happened there. Killed a couple of Space Marines, but that was about it. They failed morale, but only ran 2 inches anyway, so inconsequential. Killed a couple of guys here with the Tactical Marines that are over here. So at the end of the game, as nothing else really happened here, we have this objective here, and this objective here. And then the Eldar and Space Marine Alliance have this one, and that one over there. Taking the game total to 10 plays 6 in favour of Eldar and Space Marines, because they also had First Blood. So thank you very much for watching, of course, and thank you very much, Nick, for hosting us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Great game. I enjoyed it. It was nice to roll some dice and have some fun. So that's been me, Callum, from Tabletop Banter. Don't forget, have fun.